other agents don't understand it.
What happens after the Super Bowl? If it doesn't sell, is your agent going to tell you, let's wait until after Valentine's Day?
And then I've got another set of 50% that are like, look, I'm very concerned about the marketplace. Interest rates not coming down, the amount of debt, inflation. Wouldn't it make more sense to do something now versus waiting? I took a $2.8 million listing this year because the owner wanted to do owner financing and he wanted somebody that understands that. Everything sells at the right price.
Hey, Jose, I could imagine that most people would probably lean more towards wanting to buy than sell. What would be a question that you could ask to determine whether or not they're more motivated about selling versus buying?
If somebody's more motivated to sell, I think the only times I could think of when there would be more, when they're selling and buying at the same time, I think maybe questions around that, maybe like, hey, look, just out of curiosity, are you selling and buying at the same time? Would you ever consider selling first and then buying? If they're contingent, I think that the probabilities are very high that they're more motivated to buy because they're like, look, I don't want to sell my property unless I find something else. So if they're doing it like same time, they're more motivated to buy.
How often have you run into sellers that have something wrong with their house? You know, a fire, you need something wrong with the plumbing or sewer.
Everything sells at the right price. Very simple. It's just when you're doing comps, find comps that need work. Find comps that are in similar conditions to theirs. Find comps that are like fixers, you know? And if you're able to do that, then it puts you in a good position. Was this helpful? Somebody else want to role play? Or maybe somebody else want to ask questions about how to handle a certain something.
Yeah, I have a question. It was in the role play. Teddy had mentioned that their agent said that they wanted to wait till after the Super Bowl. I thought that was kind of funny, but me personally, I would have taken it as in a route like to add more doubt to the agent. And I don't know if that's a route that you guys would have went down. I guess my question is like, hey, well, what happens after the Super Bowl? If it doesn't sell, is your agent going to tell you, let's wait until after Valentine's Day? At that point, what are you going to do? I kind of would have went that route, and I don't know if that would have been a good idea or a bad idea.
I use a line like, hey, like if there's a financial benefit of you selling now rather than wait until the Super Bowl, is that something you'd be interested?
I like that one better. I was actually going to say the same thing because that's all people care about. You're speaking their language. Like, hey, if there was a financial advantage to doing something now versus waiting until after the Super Bowl, is that something that you would be open to? And then they might be like, well, yes, I would. What would that financial advantage be? Well, look, I've got clients coming to me that were in that same scenario as you that were like, hey, maybe I should wait until after the Super Bowl. And what's happened now is that they're coming back to me and they're actually telling me like, hey, look, like I don't want to wait until after the Super Bowl. I'm noticing a little bit of uncertainty in the marketplace and I just want to do something right now versus wait to kind of see what happens. They're also telling me like, hey, look, I'm hearing that a lot more inventory is going to start coming on the market next year because in our market, there was 1,000 homes that didn't sell and a large portion of them are wanting to relist them in the next 12 months. If you knew that you can get more money now versus waiting, would you be open to that?
Yeah, that sounds better.
I even like the like sometimes like instead of giving my opinion about the market, I'll be like, look, a lot of clients are reaching out to me and they're saying that they're concerned. Or somebody will ask me my opinion about the market and I'll be like, well, look, that's a really good question. I'm actually having clients that are 50-50. I got 50% of my customers that are very optimistic about the marketplace telling me that next year is going to be a great year. And then I've got another set of 50% that are like, look, I'm very concerned about the marketplace. I'm looking at like the interest rates not coming down. I'm looking at the amount of debt. I'm looking at inflation. I'm looking at government shutdowns. I'm looking at this, and this, and they're very concerned about it. What are your thoughts on the market? Well, I'm concerned as well, too. I think I'm very concerned. I mean, with that being said, being that obviously like you're not super optimistic about the market, you think that there's a little bit of risk. Wouldn't it make more sense to do something now versus waiting? What else, guys?
So I came across a buyer that wanted to do like a creative financing, meaning like, hey, like I want to put 50% down on this deal if they're looking to just seller finance it. Like in those type of cases, do you still have like escrow involved and title involved and all that? Or is it just like solely buyer and seller are coming to some type of an agreement with, I don't know, attorneys or something like that?
That's the same exact process, bro. What happens if you don't do title?
Well, if there's like cloud on title or
Yeah.
just
So would you want to do title?
yeah.
100%. You never want to buy a property without title insurance. Why? Because if you buy a property without title insurance, you're inheriting anything that comes with the property, or there's nobody like watching out for that, bro. So like title insurance is actually one of the most important things. I have people that write offers like it's all cash upon like no contingencies. Only thing we ask for is clear title, because they know that as long as they have clear title, everything else can be solved. I had a client, bro, that wanted to sell a property, and she wanted to do it in a way where she just transferred the deed over to the buyer. And the reason she wanted to do that is she acquired the property in a way where it was gifted to her, but now the person who gifted to her was saying that that they took advantage of her. So she was trying to find somebody and be like, "Hey, give me 200,000 and I'll transfer the property over to you." But the problem with that is that if that person doesn't have title insurance, now they have a cloud on the title, basically.
Now I'm concerned about, okay, do you have a deed of trust? Like, because typically someone's buying through a loan, you have a lender that's going to go through all the information. If it's in this case where the buyer is saying, hey, I'll put up whatever 60% down, I'll pay you whatever $3,000 every month for the remaining mortgage. Like, who qualifies that
Or an
financial?
existing, so is the seller offering the financing or are they taking over a mortgage?
The buyer wants to, I guess, just keep paying the mortgage on behalf of the seller at the rate that they have.
Would it be an assumption or a subject to?
I don't know the difference between an assumption and a subject to.
So an assumption is meaning like you have a loan and I have to go through the qualifying process for that loan. But if I qualify, then I basically take over your interest rate and I take over your existing payments, but it's all done through the bank basically. And the loan gets transferred to my name. So instead of it staying on your name, it gets transferred to my name. A subject to is where you take over the payments, but you don't notify the bank. Title gets transferred over to you, but you're just continuing to make the payments for the individual.
To the seller.
No, you make it to the bank basically.
Oh, okay.
Because you're taking over the loan. I would watch the videos on subject to, and I would watch the videos on seller financing that I have on there. Just go Jose Luis Morales on the search bar and then put subject to at the very top. And then certain videos will come up explaining what a subject to is.
And this whole category is creative financing, right?
Yeah, I think it's creative options. Like it's just creative stuff, like things that are out of the box, like subject to, owner financing, assumables. Like when you first asked the question, you said owner financing. When I think owner financing, I think about like the seller being the bank versus you assuming it or you doing a subject to, basically. So there's so many different structures in that like if you get well versed on it, you're able to have better conversations with people and you're able to take better listings because other agents don't understand it. Like I took a $2.8 million listing this year because the owner wanted to do owner financing and he wanted somebody that understands that. So because I knew how to do that, it was basically like he gave me the business basically.